Hey guys, Martin here bringing you another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video. And so late last night UK time, we got some very interesting news on Global with a producer letter that was posted on Twitter. I believe the same video was shown at Battle Hour. And this is of course an update from Global, from Amatsu, about the sync between JP and Global, and it's brought some very interesting news. You guys have probably seen it by now, obviously, with everything going on last night with the rush to post anniversary stuff. This one kind of got lost in the shuffle for me. There's been the last 2 nights in a row they've released news or things on Global with basically no warning in unusual time slots, right? That Battle Hour banner appeared at like 9 PM UK time with no warning. It wasn't in the data or anything like that beforehand. We didn't know it was coming. And then this producer letter dropped at 11 PM. Like, these are 2 time slots where they don't drop news normally. So that was very strange. But we're getting around to talking about it now because this is going to be important for the future of Global. We're going to watch this here. Obviously, if you've seen it already, feel free to skip ahead. It's exactly 3 minutes long. So from when we start playing, obviously feel free to skip ahead if you've already seen it. But we're going to watch through this here. And then obviously I will go over the various information and what this means for Global. Because after this, we'll be taking a look at the schedule to see what we can expect for the rest of the year.
Hello, salut, annyeonghaseyo, ni hao, guten tag, hola. 世界の皆さん、こんにちは。ドラゴンボール Z ドッカンバトルメインプロデューサーのお松です。今日は皆さんにお知らせを2点お持ちいたしました。まずは1つ目。日本版に先駆けて近日海外版先行施策を実施いたします。今はまだ何を行うかまではお話しできませんが、詳細は後日 SNS やゲーム内お知らせにて公開いたしますので楽しみにお待ちください。そして2つ目、日本版と海外版の運営スケジュールの統合についてです。先日12月のプロデューサーレターにて日本版との運営スケジュール統合について準備を進めている旨をお伝えさせていただきました。今日はその続報をお持ちいたしました。まずは統合する範囲について今検討しているプランの詳細をお伝えできればと思います。こちらになります。キャラクターの実装スケジュール、イベントの実施スケジュールのタイミングを日本版と統合いたします。そしてそのタイミングですが、2024年夏頃に決定いたしました。海外版独自のイベントの仕様を今後どう調整するかなど、現在検討中の事項も多々ございますが、世界中の皆さんのご期待に添えるよう運営一同全力で取り組ませていただきます。さらなる詳細は今後のプロデューサーレターやドッカンナウにてお知らせいたしますのでお楽しみにしてください。また現在ドラゴンボールゲームスバトルアワー開催を記念して海外版限定でバトルアワー2024開催記念祭を実施しております。全世界同時キャンペーンの総伝説降臨祭にて登場したスーパーサイヤ人トランクス未来、スーパーサイヤ人孫悟飯未来が初めて再登場するほか、祭り限定キャラクターがさらに2体ピックアップに含まれている豪華なガシャになっておりますので、皆さんぜひ引いてみてくださいね。こちらで本日の情報は以上となります。これからのドッカンバトルの進化に皆さんご期待ください。それではまた次回の動画でお会いしましょう。最後までご視聴いただきありがとうございました。See you!
See you, Amatsu-san. So, there's a couple of very important things to take away from this. I didn't want to talk like during it because obviously for the people who did want to skip ahead, obviously want to cover it here. So, first of all, they mentioned that they are planning for a new global first piece of content. We don't know what that is. Obviously, when they show the examples here, it's kind of funny that most of them are easy A's, right? because we have like the obviously UI Goku was a global first, the STR UI Goku. But then you can see here, like the EZAs for Rose and Vegito Blue were global first. The EZAs for the 3 Great 8 characters in 2021 were global first. EZA for Full Power Super Saiyan 4 Goku in 2022. And then EZA for LR God Goku in 2023. So it's not a huge amount of stuff, but obviously that means they are planning something, whether that will just be an EZA as well. But that's very cool. This is actually quite an interesting thing to do, because you might be thinking, well, you know, they want to do the sync. They've given us some news about when the sync is going to happen. Like, why would they be releasing a global first? But releasing something global first is actually very smart for building towards the sync, because obviously the next big thing that they talked about is the fact that the unification of the schedules. I mean, this is what we already knew, right? It's the characters and the events, basically the main stuff. I think what this means is there will potentially be things like quality of life updates, or even things like the way top grossing is handled and stuff like that, that won't necessarily be exactly the same, because they are still going to be 2 separate apps. They're in 2 different app stores, but yeah, around the summer of 2024. So with them building towards syncing at this time, you obviously have to remember that as of right now, Global is still behind JP, and there are still a fair few units that we are missing, which, as I say, we will go through the schedule over here in a moment and sort of piece together what the rest of the year is going to look like for Global. So having a Global first is good, because let's say it was a unit, for example. I think it probably is just going to be EZAs or some stages or something, right? But having a Global first then gives the opportunity that when Global is getting something that we need to catch up to JP, JP can then get the thing that Global got to fill that space, so they're not pulling further ahead of us with more content that we don't have already. So I do think that is a very, very good idea. And yeah, so around summer of 2024, and you know what that means, don't you? When it comes to full-on summer, because, you know, we already know the anniversary wasn't synced, it's happening on JP right now. The anniversary for Global will be July. So when they say around summer, I feel like it's pretty clear they're talking August, September time. And, you know, you all know what that is, I'm sure. The worldwide celebration, which is already a same time celebration. So the way I feel that this is going to go is that the worldwide celebration is going to happen, synced as it always is. And then literally from that point onwards, from after the worldwide celebration, everything else is going to be the same. So that means that Global has between now and the worldwide celebration to catch up to everything that is out on JP that is not yet out on Global. And there's a couple of different ways they can do that. We've talked about different ideas in the past, whether they will rush out characters that we don't have, like, you know, in a shorter space of time, whether they'll drop a banner that includes like multiple units that Global doesn't have. That remains to be seen. Dropping some kind of Global first, like I said, whilst it does create that opportunity for JP to catch up, if it's something like a full-on new character, kind of like with 21 coming out at the same time for Global and JP at the end of the year, that's just creating another slot where we're not catching up to JP. So if Global drops a Global first, then when JP is getting that Global first on JP, we're still then using that slot to catch up with something that we didn't have. Now, it means they're not pulling ahead, but it means we haven't pulled ahead either, right? Because we've gotten one step closer while they get the Global first. Whereas if we just got a thing they didn't have instead, obviously that would mean the next release for them would be something new. So it's interesting to see how it will pan out. And then obviously the last part here, as we all know, they're just talking about the banner, which very cool, very nice little bonus Global W. I think it was worth summoning on 100%. Obviously with any summons it's RNG and you could not get Gohan or Trunks, but I think for the 150 stones to do 4 summons and then that banner goes, so you're not tempted to like waste all of your anniversary fund or anything, I think that it was definitely a very good banner to summon on. So we're going to jump over to the wiki here and take a look at the schedule. Now, I've brought up the 2022 schedule because this is the one that's closest to what we could expect for this year, because this was obviously in 2023, we didn't have the thing where we needed to get the New Year's Dual Dokkan Fest because they came out at the same time for Global and JP at the end of 2022, which was obviously the Ultimate Gohan and Piccolo. So this is the year that very closely resembles what we're currently getting and what we should be looking forward to getting. So as you can see here, we're at the beginning of February. This is coming up in the next couple of days. We know we are getting the INT Tournament of Power androids dropping on global. It's kind of funny that the tech androids were in the same time slot 2 years ago. But yeah, so we're going to be getting the androids. We know they're upcoming. And then as we go down through February, there was a bunch of other stuff here. This is just going to be EZAs related to the Android celebration. There was a whole bunch of fusion stuff. I don't know if they will slide anything else in here potentially. And then of course we had the part 2 LR for the androids, which was the future Trunks and Gohan. This of course is going to be the LR Ribrienne, Rosie and Kakunsa. So we know this is going to come roughly in here. And then we had a few more like crossover-y type buffs, and we had all the fusions awakenings here, and EZAs. So I don't know what they'll fill this with at the end of February. Hopefully something, because otherwise the end part of February is going to be incredibly dry. I'm not sure if there's really anything on JP that kind of fits into this gap. It'd be cool if we somehow got maybe like the 50% support EZAs early or something like that. But I feel like that's probably still going to be in a similar time slot where it's either with the the later part of the Wrath of the Dragon celebration, or if it's just going to be right before the anniversary. But either way, this is a bit of an empty slot at the end of the month where we could fit something in. This is where they could drop a global first maybe, but I don't know if we're going to see that literally at the end of this next coming month. Then when we move into March, March is obviously when Saiyan Day is, but we get a Dokkan Fest at the beginning of March. In 2022, we got the AGL Trunks. So this is where we would expect to see STR, Gohan, and Piccolo release, because they're one of the only Dokkan Fests that JP now has that Global does not. So those guys would drop here, and then we would move into Saiyan Day in the 18th of March. Because remember, for JP, the anniversary basically takes up like the whole of February. Now, it's very possible that they get a new Dokkan Fest. I should have brought up the timeline for JP as well. So let me bring that up here in another window, and we can see what the... because I believe they do get one at the beginning of March, right? We can check even just last year and see what happened. So March 2023... yeah, it came out the 6th of March, and then they went into Saiyan Day on the 18th, which is kind of crazy. So JP will get another Dokkan Fest here, which means they're one Dokkan Fest ahead. After, because assuming this is Gohan and Piccolo for us, obviously not counting the New Year's Dual Dokkan Fest, which we'll get to, that has a specific slot, and obviously the anniversary characters. So Gohan and Piccolo releasing here. They didn't have a part 2 LR, I believe. Right, because then we go into Saiyan Day, and that's why that fits perfectly into here, because there's not space for part 2 LR. And this is where we'll get the new Saiyan Day unit. I'm really hoping for a God Vegeta or a Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta. Let me know what your thoughts are down below and what you want to see for Saiyan Day. That takes us up basically all the way to the end of March. And then we go into April, and this is where the schedules are going to be the same. This is why I brought up April 2022. The 1st of April is where we then got the New Year's Dual Dokkan Fest. So this time slot will then be Hirudegarn and Dragon Fist Super Saiyan 3 Goku. Kind of funny, again, 2 years later, having the same thing where we're getting the New Year's Dual Dokkan Fest and one of them is the Super Saiyan 3 Goku. It's kind of funny the way that works out. And then as we go through the rest of April, we then get to... we'll have all of this stuff from the Hirudegarn celebration. This could be obviously where we get the 50% support EZAs and all that stuff. And then at the end of April is when we then get Golden Week, which will be on both versions at the same time. But again, if we jump back to the schedule over here, after Saiyan Day, once we get to April, JP gets another Dokkan Fest as well. So now, even though we've got the New Year's Dual Dokkan Fest, we've both had Golden Week and Saiyan Day at the same time. Global is now at this point still going to be 2 Dokkan Fest exclusives behind JP, right? Then we get to May, and May we see a bunch of other content. This is the end part of the Saiyan Day stuff, and then we had, the end part of the Golden Week stuff, including the part 2 LR, so all of this is still going to be the same. And then we get, in May, the first Dokkan Fest after the anniversary that JP got. So that catches us up by 1. However, of course, on JP itself, after the Golden Week stuff has wrapped up, did they get... yeah, they get a new Dokkan Fest as well. So we're still going to be 2 behind, right, as we go into May. Then once we go into June here, we're getting built up towards the anniversary. We get the Part 2 LR, usually of the character that came out either right before or right after the anniversary, depending on when they were released. And then we go into July and we get the anniversary. So you can see we're still going to be at a fairly steady pace. We're going to be 2 Dokkan Fest exclusives behind JP, even once we've caught up and gotten the New Year's Dual Dokkan Fest. Because after we go through July, we then obviously get to August, and that's where we go into the worldwide celebration towards the end of the month. We got Raditz here, which I think this will be another one of the Dokkan Fest that JP is behind, but they're going to get another one as well. And then we're going to be at the worldwide celebration. So basically, the way this breaks down is that sometime between now and August, we need to get essentially 2 extra Dokkan Fests, and that is either them shortening the gap between them or making one of them like a dual Dokkan Fest or something, or even just one banner that has 2 Dokkan Fests on it. But sometime between now and the worldwide celebration, we somehow need to make up ground for 2 Dokkan Fest exclusives, whilst they've also mentioned, you know, bringing out some kind of global first content. So it's going to be interesting to see how this pans out, but we now know the sync scheduled to be summer 2024. Like I say, the best way to do that is you have the worldwide celebration synced as it always is, and then right after that, boom, everything is synced after that. So we've got between now and then to catch up. Not sure how they're going to do that. Let me know what you guys think down below. Obviously, like I say, One Piece Treasure Cruise, which is another Bandai Namco gacha game, they just dropped one banner that had all the units that Global didn't have. Now, the problem with that is when they would decide to do that, because if they do it right before the worldwide, it's also right after the anniversary, which for Global, it's kind of it kind of sucks having to go anniversary, then a very short gap to the worldwide celebration. So then if there's a banner in between those two that has like 3 or 4 new units, very awkward and potentially expensive for people that do want to summon for all of those characters. So it remains to be seen exactly how this will be done, but let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. Are you excited about this? I know a lot of us were thinking it wouldn't really be synced fully in play until the 10th anniversary, so to find out that it's going to be quite a few months earlier than that is definitely very exciting, because that means things like the New Year Dual Dokkan Fest will definitely be on both versions at the same time again for the end of 2024. So let me know all your thoughts down below in the comment section. So that's going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Masked Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below for the Discord and the merch store, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.